Hey, what's going on everyone? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about Onslaught and this build that I've been using that I think that you guys would like. If you're going for the 50 waves, then this build will make it a breeze getting through that. So, let's get started. This is for the Hunter though. We might make one for the Warlock and the Titan, so subscribe for those as well, because those will be out later. But we're starting with the Hunter, because I am a Hunter main. And let's get into it. And let's start off with the super. So with the super, we're running the tether, the Deadfall tether more specifically, because this thing is just ridiculous for Onslaught. You're able to lock down a whole spawn of enemies, and if you're killing the enemies fast enough, it pretty much stays there for the whole wave. You're also making tons of wards for your teammates, and it makes just dealing with the enemies super easy when they're all tethered. I just feel like the tether is pretty much like a must-have for Onslaught. It deals with the enemies very easily, and it makes a ton of wards for your teammates. So you can get their supers as well, and they can start spamming their supers, and then making orbs with their supers gives you your super back. It's just a cycle of tethering the enemies, giving your teammates super, and then picking up their orbs, getting your super, and tethering the enemies again. And that's pretty much how you can lock down this place super easily with the tether. For the dodge, we have the marksman dodge. Used to be able to reload some of the slower reloading weapons, but you could also go with the gambler's dodge to get your melee back. This one, I don't feel strongly about either. That one's pretty much up to your preference. For the grenade, I would definitely recommend something like the vortex grenade. I like the vortex grenade because it lasts a little longer than some other grenades. So if you have the fragment that weakens targets, then you could reapply that weaken over and over again. Up until the point where the grenade goes away. Now moving on to the aspects, we have Trapper's Ambush and Vanishing Step. Vanishing Step just makes it so when we dodge, we go invisible. This is just really good for whenever your teammates go down, you're able to go invisible on demand. Now for Trapper's Ambush, it's another way to making you invisible with your smoke instead. And you can actually share this with your teammates. So you like revive somebody, you can hit the smoke immediately so they don't just die immediately. You can also activate it while in the air to come down and like weaken a bunch of targets, and that's also a thing that you can do, especially on some like bigger enemies where you want to weaken them. That's another way to like apply a debuff on them. Or you can also just throw the smoke bomb at them, and that will weaken them as well. Now let's move on to the fragments. The very first one is Echo Persistence. Void Buzz applied to us have an increased duration, so our invisibility and our devour are gonna last for longer. Devour can go up to 15 seconds with this, making it so it's really hard to lose Devour. You pretty much only lose it like at the end of the round. And invisibility also lasts longer, more around like 10 seconds, so you can be safe for a long time in case you gotta go invisible to like revive the team, or you're not taking any damage. Persistence is gonna make it so that invisibility lasts longer, and like I said, being able to have the Devour pretty much all round makes you have some pretty good survivability, since the Devour is pretty much the only survivability we have here. But as long as we keep killing things, which we usually are gonna be because of the tether, we should be pretty fine. Next up, we have Echo Undermining, so our void grenades can weaken targets. This is pretty much so we can deal with the bosses easier, so we're able to put a debuff on them and do more damage. So our grenade will be able to weaken them, and our smoke will be able to weaken them. So we have like always two different ways of weakening them, and just make it so we can do more damage. Next up, we have Echo Starvation, which is going to give us Devour whenever we pick up a Void Breach or an Overpower. The main way that we're going to be getting Devour on this is with Overpower. We don't really make Void Breaches, so we're fully relying on Overpower, but don't worry, we're going to be making a lot of them. And like I said, Devour is going to be like the main way that we heal and that we stay alive, so this is very important. And lastly, we have Echo of Vigilance. Now this one is one that I don't feel like you guys have to run all the time. If you feel like you are comfortable, use with the Devour. But I added this extra just in case you wanted a bit more safety. Defeating targets while your shields are depleted grants you a temporary overshield. And like I said, this one is mostly just to give you a bit more safety. But if you feel like Devour is good enough for you, you could change this out for something like Reprisal to get even more super energy when you're surrounded by combatants. Because a lot of times you are surrounded in Onslaught, so might as well get a bit of extra super energy and spam you more supers. So if you want more super energy, Reprisal is going to be it, but you want a bit more survivability, then Vigilance is what you want to run. Now for the exotic that we're running the one and only, the Orpheus Rakes. With the Orpheus, whenever we tether something, we're pretty much guaranteed to like get our grenade and our melee fully back. And also, as long as you tether where like enemies are spawning or where they're coming from, you should be getting like half of your super back just like immediately. And if you don't get it immediately after you kill those hats and the new wave spawns, then that should like take to half. It felt like most of the tethers I did in Onslaught gave me like half my super back. It was very rare for me to not get my super back, except the only time since like when I tether, like maybe on like the final wave, like right before we moved on to the next one, or that one time I just accidentally tethered the wall. But you know, as long as you're not tethering walls and you're tethering where like the enemies are spawning, you should be getting a huge amount of super back, and also just getting your abilities back as well, because you will get your grenade and your melee every time you tether a group of enemies. So I would definitely say to use tether at the beginning of the round wherever the enemies are spawning, and you're pretty much guaranteed to have like a tether by the middle of the round, or worst case scenario by the end of the round, ready for the next one. But yeah, with the Orpheus, as long as you see a group of enemies, just tether them, make orbs, you'll get your super back really fast, so don't be afraid to use your tether. You are the person that can just spam supers, and you spamming supers, remember, will also give your teammates supers, so they can spam supers, and then you pick up their orbs, and then you super again. As long as you all are just constantly supering, you pretty much have just insane uptime thanks to Orpheus Rakes. You pretty much just fuel the team supers with the Orpheus with all the orbs you're making, and also all the other mods that we also have on that make even extra orbs. Okay, so now let's move on to the mods that we're running. First of all, for the helmet, we have Harmonic Siphon, Rapid Void Weapon Final Blows, Create Orbs Power. That's just another way that we're going to be making orbs, but with our weapon. We also have Dynamo. Reduces super cooldown whenever we use our class ability next to targets. There's always enemies near, so every time we dodge, we basically just get some extra super. And lastly, Radiant Light. Whenever we cast our super, we give our allies armor charge. So since we're going to be casting our super a lot, they're going to be getting a lot of armor charge. Now for our gauntlets, we have Void Loader, so we can reload our void weapons faster. Fastball, so we can throw our grenades farther away. And Bolstering Detonation, so we can get some class ability energy whenever we do damage with a grenade. For our chest piece, we have Harmonic Resistance, since it's Void this week. But you can, you know, set these to whatever resistances or burn that you're going up against. It will not stay void forever, so I would definitely recommend you looking at whatever week that you see this video. Now for the boots, we have Absolution and also Restoration, as well as a Scavenger. Scavenger is just so we can get the most out of those heavy drops. And then Absolution and Restoration just makes so we get our abilities back faster by picking up Orbs of Light. And lastly for the class item, we have Reaper, Bomber, and Powerful Attraction. Reaper is just to make a couple more orbs after using our class ability. Bomber is to get our grenade back faster. And lastly, Powerful Attraction is just so we can collect our orbs of power whenever we use our class ability. Now let's move on to the weapons, and the only recommendation we have for you guys is the Graviton Lance. Graviton Lance is great at dealing with groups, and most importantly, it's a void weapon, so it works really well with our build. I would definitely recommend that you go for a void primary so you can make some extra orbs that way, and there's no other better primary that's void. That's the Graviton. So Graviton, I feel like it works really well in Onslaught, just because of the ad clearing potential that it's got, just blowing everything up with its exotic perk. Now when it comes to like the special weapon that you want to run and your heavy, those are more open-ended, more up to you. I ended up going with Riptide, and since machine guns do extra damage this week, I ended up going with a corrective measure, just because it had been a while since I used it. But that modifier that gives the machine guns extra damage won't be there forever, so if you wanna run something else, like a rocket, or a grenade launcher. That's all up to you. Same with the Riptide. You could switch it over for a scatter signal or something else. That's up to you. Even the Graviton, really. If you don't feel the Graviton, I did a couple of runs with the Tidal instead, so I could free up my exotic slot. And this thing also did fantastic. It doesn't have as much ad clearing potential as the Graviton, but the Tether itself already gives you some pretty good ad clearing potential. So even the Graviton itself is not like super tight to this build. But I see that as a good thing because it means that, you know, you can customize it a lot more to whatever your needs are. Just remember to actually do change, you know, a couple of the more void specific mods. As long as you change those, you're gonna be pretty fine. But yeah, that's everything for the build. I will leave a dim link in the comments below in case you guys would like to quit the build. But hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you guys do well in the Onslaught. Like I said, just make sure that you tether big groups of enemies, and you're pretty much gonna be pumping those orbs out like crazy. You are an orb generator. You deal with ads, generate orbs, and you carry the team that way. Yeah, just spamming supers is a very good way to use go through waves, deal with big enemies, and once you have unlimited supers like this, everything seems just a lot easier. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. If you guys have tried the build, come back to this video, tell me how you guys ended up liking it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone, have a good rest of your day, peace.